G'day, mate. How you going? Welcome to our beautiful Emerald Coast. Out here in the bush, both the fauna and the flora are unique and fascinating to observe. Oh, I'm Robert, by the way.
Just call him Robbo. Why do you sound like a tourist guide, Robbo? I'm Sophia. Sure, this region is a beaut, but it's also bloody fragile.
Too true. That's why we're stoked you're here to work with us.
But there's no rule that says you can't have fun at work, eh? You game? Where did the ute drop you off exactly? Anyway, you're not far from my station. Why don't you climb the fire lookout tower that's close by and see for yourself? From there, you'll see clearly where things are.
It may not look like it, but you're on private land. This belongs to Soph and her husband.
We run a station, a farm, and Robbo's own land is north of here.
Australia's a massive country, as you know. So it's not uncommon for folks to own huge properties that sprawl over kilometres.
Across several biomes, even. That's why we need to hire professional hunters like yourself. I reckon you won't get bored. So, how are you holding up at the fire lookout tower? Quite the workout, eh?
Good on you. You almost made it. Once you're up there, take a moment to breathe and enjoy the view. The outback. That's one of the first things they think about overseas when they hear Australia.
It's arid and it can be tough out here, especially after the bushfires in the last few years.
But it's also a surprisingly rich ecosystem, home to heaps of unique and sometimes bizarre species.
Did you spot my station from up there? Then please, come and get settled in. Sorry I can't be there to greet you in person today. I'm out on a hunt too. What is there to say about us? Well, Robbo and I are neighbours.
Neighbours? How about best mates?
Technically, we're also neighbours, Robbo. But yeah, we both grew up here. Our folks owned the two stations.
In other words, we became mates because there wasn't anyone else around.
You even lived in Brisbane for a few years after uni to try to get rid of me, but even that wasn't enough.
Too right. We tried everything. A long-distance friendship, crazy jobs, stupid boyfriends.
And jealous girlfriends. As a last resort, we each got married. Nothing worked.
Except one thing, having a kiddo. That worked wonders. Anyway, let us know when you're over at Soap Station.
Welcome to my station. It's quiet at the moment, but it can get a little too busy around here sometimes. I reckon it's sort of a hangout for our community. We even have board game nights sometimes. Anyway, your cabin's ready. I've prepared everything for you. Hope you like it. It's a bit basic, but it does the job. Feel free to use it during your stay. It's our pleasure, really. Eric and I opened these a couple of years ago to make an extra buck. They've been a lifesaver. Take your time, make yourself at home, grab a cuppa from the bar. We don't make a fuss out here in the sticks. If you're ready, we can get started. Wait, would you mind grabbing something before you head out? It's a book Robbo lent me ages ago.
A book? Which one? The one on imposter syndrome or the one on kangaroos? When you need more info, look it up in your codex. Luckily that thing won't take over my job just yet, but it's still bloody good.
The kangaroo one, yeah. I left it in the bar. You can't miss it, mate. Moving slower is the best way to not spook animals. So move deliberately instead of rushing through the bush. Right, that's the book. Great job, you're the best. I'm flat out right now, so I reckon you'll visit Robbo's shelter before I do. You have no idea how stoked Robbo will be when he gets it. If you're wearing the right dax, you can crouch or even crawl. That way, you'll be less visible and more stable to line up your next shot. Your first task has to do with kangaroos. There are areas that are badly overgrazed because of them. There's one east of my station, so why don't you start heading there? We'll bring you up to speed on the way. These tracks, you can follow them, but don't forget to also look up and observe what's in front of you. Since I reckon you're not familiar with roos yet, here's a bit of context. Later, we know you can do your own thing. Foliage is both your friend and your enemy. You're hidden, but you're loud as hell. So be careful where you walk, especially in Australia. We have the eastern grey kangaroos around here. You'll find them in the outback, of course, but also in grassy bushlands.
They're a very important species in Australia, but they don't have a lot of natural predators. So they can easily be in overabundance and cause overgrazing. They can make life heaps harder for other animals and throw the whole ecosystem out of whack.
Not to mention the economic impact on our stations. Can't say it's been too brilliant in the last couple of years. Yeah, jumps like a kangaroo. Take a break before you attempt a shot. Otherwise, your aim will be all over the place. There's just too much population control to be done. You can't keep up on your own.
So we often work with the government to hire professional hunters to help us out. Soph is also a hunter herself. And she's the chair of our Hunters Association.
Yeah, we organise hunting parties with other hunters when we have the time.
But most of the time, you all like to just hang out at your bar.
That's part of the fun. Our community's not too bad here. You can stalk animals, but sometimes it works just as well to ambush them. If you use callers, you can get them to come to you instead. In theory, walking without shoes would make less noise. In reality, though, the Emerald Coast is probably the last place I'd want to test that out. Robbo, he turned his folk station into a wildlife sanctuary a few years ago.
Yeah, we take in wounded animals. We nurse them back to health and, if possible, release them back into the wild.
And you arrange guided visits with schools. That's when Robbo gets to talk the kids' ears off about the wildlife.
I know. That's the best part of the work. And, most of the time, they listen. First, try to spot a roo from a distance without spooking them. Your best bet is to climb a fire lookout tower. Another workout for your calves, I'm afraid. Out here, we have a lot of fire lookout towers. They're really high, so it's quite the workout to get up there. But unfortunately, in the last few years, we need them a lot more than we'd like. Great! How's the view? Take out your binoculars and try to spot a kangaroo from up there, for starters. They usually roam the outback, so you should be able to spot one. If you can't see any close by, you'll have to get out in the bush and track them down. When you walk out in the open like that, chances are there are like a dozen animals staring at you and thinking, who's that drongo?
Hold your breath before you pull the trigger. It'll help steady your aim. Spotting an animal before it spots you is the bread and butter of hunting. Keep your binoculars handy and use them often. Shooting can be the most fun part of a hunt, but it can also be frustrating. My mum's advice was always the same. Take your time, Soph. of the blood will give you an indication of the quality of your shot. A well-placed shot will guarantee that the animal is close by. It's blood.